We got this email from Janet. She writes, just found your podcast and love it. I'm in the process of scanning old photos onto my hard drive with an HP scanner. Just got the new Photo Elements 8, which is an impressive program that makes my notebook groan and sometimes heat up. I have a 2-year-old Dell M1210. Do I need a new notebook? I'm not a gamer, just a beginner photo saver, LOL, and on a budget. Thanks, Janet N. Well, I'm not entirely sure what your exact configuration is of the Dell. It's a Dell XPS 2010.
Core 2 Duo, reasonably fast processor. Could have as little as 1 GB of RAM.
It's got the mobile version, though.
It's still a pretty fast processor.
Anyway, it should at least have the minimum specs to run Photo Elements 8, and those specs are 1.6 gigahertz or faster processor, Microsoft Windows XP with Service Pack 2 or 3, Windows Vista or Windows 7, 1 GB of RAM, 2 GB of available hard disk space, a 1024 by 576 monitor resolution at 96 DPI or less, and Microsoft DirectX 9 compatible display drivers. Well, a lot of people like to update their laptop every 2 years or so, but I mean that was a good laptop at the time, like we said.
It's still a good laptop now. I would say, let's.
I don't know if I would call it a good laptop. It's like
still trust me, as someone who has been using a 4-year-old laptop on and off, alternating with a netbook.
My laptop's 3 years old.
You know what I mean?
Now.
It's you gotta, you know, a good. There's a difference between having like a $1,000 laptop from 2 years ago and like a $2,000 laptop from 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me say one thing first. One, minimum specs usually suck for running any application. Like it'll run the application.
It will work technically.
You can tow 5,000 pounds with a Volkswagen Beetle. It won't be safe. You won't go very fast. Hills will be a nightmare. But technically, it'll work, right?
So she probably doesn't need to make.
I bet moving to like 4 GB of RAM, like upgrading the RAM and maybe using an external hard drive rather than the onboard hard drive would vastly speed up the process and eliminate the churning and the smoking smell coming from the notebook.
And if she doesn't want to do that, if that's too complicated for what she wants to do for the rest of her computing needs, maybe just use a scanning software that isn't quite so resource intensive. I know HP, if you're using an HP scanner, they actually have pretty decent scanning and printing software that comes with the printer or scanner that you're purchasing. It's not like top of the line stuff, but it definitely gets the job done.
Yeah, if all you're doing is like, here's Aunt Tilda, and you know what I mean. If you're basically, because I'm scanning in like several hundred photos right now, and one, it's really funny because there's been like 3 new scanners in the last 2 years. And 2, it's the ultimate, like, you know, I should hire someone to do this for me. or you do it like you're watching TV and you walk over to the scanner and put another one on and hit click and it does its thing in the background.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a labor intensive thing.
But I'm also curious, like, what exactly you mean by it's heating up and groaning. Is it like, does it stop working? Like, are you getting freeze ups? Is anything else not working properly? I'm just wondering if it's like typical kind of older laptop trying to run newer software situation. Like laptops get hot and do that a lot. I made a rhyme.
Laptops get
all the
hot
time
and do that a lot.
But it's true, you know, I mean, there's ways that you can keep your laptop cooler, for example, putting it on one of those laptop stands like the Griffin elevator that I have, you know, getting a coolant pad that sits underneath it, making sure that the vents for the fans are running properly and not clogged in any way. I'm not sure whether that's a symptom of it just being an older laptop or not having enough resources, or if it's
probably all of those things. Because what's happening is, like, you know, photo scanning, you've got this huge file coming in. It's probably, you know, there's like probably raw data coming from the scanner. It's being converted into a JPEG or whatever format you're capturing at. They're probably big 25, 40 gigabyte files. Maybe even much larger, depending on what the data coming over the bus is.
Megabyte. I was like, wow. She's scanning posters, people.
It's like an entire Blu-ray movie. Yeah, that would be an awesome scan to be doing at home. I gotta say, if you don't have at least 2 gigabytes of memory, moving to 2 gigabytes or even 4 gigabytes of memory is relatively cheap and does wonders for performance. And going to a big, fast external hard drive rather than trying to stuff everything on that little tiny hard drive inside the machine will make a big difference on performance. Yeah,
maybe she's just running low on space too. Maybe her hard drive, after having it for this long, is, I think it's like a 100 gigabyte hard drive or 120 gigabyte hard drive on that model. So, you know, after a few years, that stuff starts getting down there a little bit.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Defragment your hard drive. That can actually help a lot.
Yeah. My mom's computer at home has a 30 gigabyte hard drive. Or 32.
And for a lot of people, that's a lot of hard drive space.
And I was trying to run the disk defrag, and it needs 15% space available, and it was at 13, and I was like, oh, God, I got to start cleaning stuff out, and yeah, that took a good portion of my holiday travels, my holiday home time.
Hopefully, one of these things will solve your issue.